Hey everyone, I'm going to use the March Kitaholic Kits, and then in it was this cut file with all these circles, and one of the design team ladies the other day shared their layout and where they'd cut it and laid it up, and it looked really nice. So I thought I would use that idea of cutting it to adapt what I could do. It's obviously different to their design because they layered theirs up, and I've just cut mine in half and put one on each side. But I really like the way this layout has turned out. So I'm just going through all the printable Project Life pocket page cards here and just trying to work out what kind of colours and whatnot I want to use, what patterns. And I'm going to just back them, all the circles, with different patterns and have some colours going all over the page and just enjoy the look of it. Trying to get some colours on both sides, remembering there's quite a few circles once you realize when you start backing them all. It's funny, I was like, oh yeah, there'll be plenty, plenty of pattern paper. I probably might have to double up, but I didn't need to double up because there was plenty of pattern paper and Project Life printable cards, enough to make it all happen. So I pulled out this photo of my son on his bike. Just thought it was fitting with all the circles on the page. I'm just going to show you how I backed it. Quite simple, probably not the easiest way, but also probably not the neatest way, I'd say, but it worked for me. Just a little bit of wet glue, not too much. You don't want to buckle the paper. And then I'm just cutting underneath where the cut file is so that it doesn't overhang. So if you just put your paper and your scissors on an angle, then it will cut underneath that way. So then just moving along to do some more, just showing you how easy it is, and then I will skip forward and you'll see it all come together. So this is a good way if you don't have a cutting machine, a silhouette or anything like that, is to get them in the kits. We don't always get the already cut files, but sometimes we do, which is quite fun, and it can also then just be a tester for if you like that style and want to buy the investment of getting a machine. So you can see here I've filled in quite a few more circles and it just looks really nice. I'm just making sure that the photo is going to go well, trying to work out where it's going to go so that I don't cover up, so I don't fill in a circle and the photo is going to cover it up and waste my time and paper. So I'm putting this one up on some fun foam. I've just cut little squares to put behind all the circles, and this one's going to be up on fun foam on the left side, and on the right side I just glue it straight to the paper. That just gives a little bit of point of difference, but also you can see the shadowing and the just gives that dimension and a different look, so it's quite fun. I didn't hide that fun foam there very well, so I'm just cutting that. Actually, I think it's pattern paper. I think I didn't cut the pattern paper properly, so fixing it up, gluing it down, and voila. So it comes together, ooh, really nice. So I just remembered I covered the wrong circle because that's where my photo is going to go. So I pull that paper off, and then I'm going to put it down here and just tidy it up. That, even though, like I said before, I was putting my photo to see where it was going to go and make sure I don't waste my paper, I didn't remember properly when I was backing the cut file. Anyway, so I'm going to glue this one down just with some double-sided tape, just putting the pieces everywhere, and then I'm just going to glue it down. So sometimes it's nice to just have a little play with some things that go up on who are up on dimension and some that are lower, especially if you have repeating factors or repeating icons on the page like this with the circles. I just think it's really fun to differentiate them, give them a pop of difference. So you can see the overhang in the page a little, so I'm going to cut this one on that's been taped down just while the other one dries for a second, and then I'm just going to cut that so that it fits in my page protector. So there's my background done. Once you back a cut file, especially a cut file that takes up a whole chunk of your page, there's not much left to do on the layout. You can add a photo and a title and, you know, a little bit of embellishments. But a cut file is something that means once you put in that bit of effort, you don't have to worry with the rest of the layout as such. It just all works together. So on goes the photo, and you can see that big circle on the left there that says "You Totally Can." That's going to be my title for the page, and then this little square here that's on the green card I'm going to use as my journaling spot, and just write a little bit of journaling about my son and riding a bike and how he learnt and whatnot. Nothing like, you know, massive amount of journaling. So here I've pulled out a few pieces, the tags from the ephemera pack, and then this heart is some of the printables. And like I say in my prep video and unboxing and all those kind of videos every month, and I probably say it every process video too, that I like to fussy cut them and work out how I want them in terms of a border as I'm using them. So adding some twine to the tag. I'm going to put my cluster there just to like balance out where the photo is. Now I got this embellishment here that I've printed on some tracing paper, aka vellum. So I'm using it like vellum, but it's really tracing paper because it's cheaper here in Australia. And I like the idea of putting it on top of one of the circles. So I'm just going to try and work out if any of the circles are not too patterned for it to work. And I'm just going to give up on that idea and put it over here in the cluster instead. So if I'd thought about it, I could have, you know, if it was patterned plain paper up on the top circles on the right, would have been a good spot for it, but they're not plain patterned, so it wasn't going to work that way. So I'm just going to put some flowers up here as a little pattern, just to bring in the pop of the colour and have the cluster up there at the top of the photo. Just as a nice little touch. And you can see I'm using half pieces of the flowers that I've cut off from the previous layout and have got left over. So it's always nice to not always throw out all your ephemera pieces that you cut in half, and to not be scared to cut things in half because they're still usable rather than being tucked away under a photo and not being able to be seen or used again. So you can see how easy the clusters come together with all the little ephemera pieces and all the printable stuff in the kit. Steph does a really good job of matching all the collection items and other items from other collections to make up our kit, and then Deb does a really good job of making printables, and Anita does a really good job of making our cut files. So it's just an amazing collection of goodness every month. So we've got these little scripty words, and they are just some of my favourite printables to date. I really love how fun they were. I love the colour of them, and I just love the size of them, especially some of them I've kept true to size that Deb made, and others I made I printed half the whole page to half the size of an A4 page. So both worked really well, and I just love them a lot. So I might have to ask Deb to make some more. Hopefully you guys are loving them just as much as us. So here I've thought about making a third cluster down here that just highlights that title of "You Totally Can." Even though I put that today word up the top there on the photo, I still class this "You Totally Can" as my title. So I'm just going to work on gluing them all down. So I staple the vellum because vellum and wet glue don't go nicely together, but you can. There is a vellum glue apparently, so you can't see it, but often if I'm layering pieces up, I might just put, I put the double-sided tape where it's going to be layered and covered up. Other times I just put a little tiny bit of double-sided tape, and unless you're looking really closely, you don't see it. So just playing around with these leaves for apparently way too long. It wasn't needed to be that hard, surely. So you're going to add some double-sided foam just behind this label, or this tiny word, sorry. And on it goes. So cluster came together so quickly. A little tag, the vellum heart circle shape, the flowers with the leaves, and then a tiny word sticker. and Bob's your uncle. Same with up here on the photo, just a couple of flower pieces, a leaf, and then the word today. Whoop. And then I'm going to add the circle piece and the little tab piece. So just have a fun, if you're, starting off with your clusters and your layering, just have a little bit of fun with the things that, pull out what you think could work in terms of colour, theme, or colour, theme, or like size and stuff. And then have a little play with layering. If you don't use them all, then it doesn't matter. You can put them back in your little kit box. Otherwise, you pull them out and just have a little play. The more you do it, the quicker you're going to get. And it's just a lot of fun to play with embellishments. It's like the best part of scrapbooking is embellishments. So on goes another little cluster. Using, again, some fun foam here just to highlight one of the pieces of the cluster. It's always nice to just give that a little bit of difference, especially if you're using all paper products. So sometimes, I haven't here, but sometimes I might use like a charm or a bow or a wood veneer or something like that. So an embellishment's a different texture and different look entirely. But that way it just gives it that bit of difference to the cluster. But because I haven't, I'm just using the paper. It's nice to give it that difference in texture and height. So adding some of these enamel hearts that we also got in the kit. Perfect colours. And I think the March kits were just really fun to work with. I couldn't stop working with them. So much so that I have made a lot of layouts. 20 layouts, 2 tag albums, and 2 pages of Project Life, all from one monthly kit. So that was pretty outstanding, I think. And I've got a killer kit video coming up because I like to share all the projects I make, not everything I film. Otherwise I'd be forever editing. But a lot of things I like to film, especially if I've got a bit of an idea of what I'm going to make before I start making it. So just before I finish the layout, I've pulled out my Distress Oxide reinkers that we got in the monthly kit this month, and I've just put it in the little palette that we also got in the kit. So I'm just going to put some ink splatters on all that white space in the middle. So just going to water it down, add a little bit of liquidness to it, make it a bit more fluid, and it will splatter on. And I'm just using a baby wipe in between to wipe out my little brush. So it just makes it really finish the layout, and I just like the way that it all ended up. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video today, and hopefully you're already subscribed to our kits and you get all this goodness every month to play along with us. If not, head on over and get your hands on all this goodness. Anyway, enjoy the close-ups, and I'll catch you next time. Bye guys.